Alrighty, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning on in. Today we're going to be talking about compound interest. Now, it won't make you rich and it won't make you poor, but what this video will do is serve as a benchmark for future financial education videos. Okay, so starting out, we're actually going to talk about simple interest and then have a baseline to compare with compound interest. So, starting out, we'll assume that we invest $1,000. So doing this in Excel or LibreOffice, that's just $C, $6. So $C, $6. Cool. And the interest that we earn on that is going to be that principal that we invested multiplied by the interest rate. So in that case, it's going to be $C, $7. And here, the total interest earned is just going to be equal to what we earned this time, and then we haven't earned anything prior to that, so we'll say that's 0. So then the total assets are going to be equal to just the interest that we earned plus the principal that we've invested. So $50 that first year, not bad. So, or at the end of the year 0. So, year 1, we've still invested $1,000. We haven't ramped that up. But, once again, we still earn that $50. Here's the kicker, though. The total interest we've earned is what we earned last time, plus the $50 that we earned this time, which is $100. So, all in all, how much do we have? Well, it's going to be equal to the total assets that we have plus the interest that we earned. And we're doing this in a very specific way, in that way specifically. So, that's good and dandy. What if we drag everything down to 10 years? We've made $500. 20 years, we've made $1,000, essentially doubling our money, which is good. That's good. But there are better ways to make money with interest. Instead of doing simple interest, there's compound interest, which we'll talk about in the next segment. So now let's talk about compound interest. So this time it'll be similar in that we have the same interest rate and we're investing the same principal, but it'll be different in that everything that we make is going to get reinvested and that interest will compound on that. So once again, our principal investment, that'll be $L, $5, my bad. And then the interest we earn on that, first year it'll be the exact same. It's just going to be the principal investment times L6. So our total interest, since we hadn't made anything to begin with, it'll just be that same $50. And then the total assets, it's just going to be that $50 times the principal that we've invested. Made a little mistake here, sorry about that. So moving right on to our second year or our first year, depending on how we index it. Once again, we've made $1,000, or we've invested $1,000, and no more. But the benefit here, we're going to say we earn interest on the total assets from last pay period. So that would be that 1050 times the interest rate. So $L, $6. Right? So then, of course, the total interest earned is going to be equal to this 50 plus what we earned this time around. And so
our total assets are going to be equal to this 1050 here, plus the interest that we earned. So, 5250 or 52 and a half. Sorry. So yeah, 5250. And we'll let this pattern continue. 10 years down the road, it's already at $1,700. So comparing that to the simple interest, we're now at $2,700, which is phenomenal. Comparing that to the simple interest, which was $2,050. So, maybe it makes a big deal, maybe it doesn't. But here's where things start getting fun. Let's say we go down 40 years down the road. Well, okay, now it's hit 3,000 here with a simple, but with a compound, we've now hit $7,000. So as you can see, there's a huge discrepancy. Anyway, and that's just with 5% interest rate. Let's say we bump that up. We pump up those rookie numbers. Let's say we go up to 8% interest. Into here, 4280. Not bad after 40 years. But here, $23,000 starting from 1,000. After 40 years at 8% interest, you've made $23,000. You've turned $1,000 into $23,000. You made $22,000 right here. So that's the power. I'm going to put some graphs together so I can show y'all. Okay, so here we have a side-by-side comparison of the end of the year assets with simple interest versus compound interest. And then, of course, on the far left column, we have the year. Now, this doesn't really mean very much, but after 40 years, you have $3,000 with a simple interest and $23,000 with a compound, compared with just 10 years where, the difference is only $800. Obviously, this lends itself to a graph. So here we have the chart where in the blue is the simple interest, in the orange is the compound interest. And we're comparing end of the year assets in dollars over time. As you can see, the compound interest increases at an increasing rate, whereas the simple interest just increases at a stable rate. So this is a purely hypothetical scenario, but think about it. Every $1,000 you invest, if you can get 8% interest, which in mutual funds you can, in bonds maybe not so much, but you get that 8% interest, $1,000 today will be worth almost 25 in 40 years. It's something to consider. So the next thing we're going to talk about is a more realistic scenario, and that'll be in our next segment.